If Cardi B appeared anywhere, people said, the moment was bound to be unforgettable, and her arrival in court was no exception, for the singer known for her bold personality and flamboyant lifestyle brought her unfiltered energy directly into the serious environment of the courtroom, where reporters, lawyers, staff members, and spectators gathered with curiosity to see what would unfold. And indeed what happened was nothing short of a spectacle. The artist, who had risen to fame through music, television, and viral catchphrases including the well-known line "Am I the drama?" became the focus of legal proceedings in Los Angeles on August 27, when she responded in person to a lawsuit filed by a former security guard. The plaintiff, identified as Emani Ellis, had accused the rapper in documents obtained by NBC News of spitting on her and scratching her face in the hallway of a Beverly Hills obstetrician's office in 2018, but when Cardi B, whose birth name is Belcalis Marlenis Almanzar, took the stand, she did not shy away from acknowledging that heated words had been exchanged, yet she firmly denied spitting or physically touching Ellis, instead making it clear that she had never laid a hand on the woman. Though the suit did not originally specify an exact financial claim, Cardi herself revealed under oath that Ellis was seeking damages of $24 million. And since her physical presence had become necessary in court, she transformed what could have been a quiet and procedural appearance into something that could not be ignored, treating her time before the judge and jury as an extension of the spectacle she often delivered to the public. She did this not only through her words but also through her fashion choices, wigs, hairstyles, and expressions, which caught the attention of journalists and onlookers even before a single word of her testimony was recorded. Many observers noted that the scene provided a striking contrast to Gwyneth Paltrow's famous ski trial in 2023, which had been equally captivating but tonally opposite, and though this case had not reached its resolution, speculation swirled that Cardi might one day settle matters with a gesture of goodwill toward the plaintiff, though she remained far from offering reconciliation during the days of testimony, instead asserting her side with vigor. Meanwhile, her courtroom style itself became a source of reporting, since she arrived each day as though stepping onto a runway. One day with a sleek, dark pixie cut, another day dazzling observers with platinum blonde locks, and when it came time for her official testimony she wore a sharp white suit with a natural blowout hairstyle that underscored her seriousness, though her answers in court were anything but restrained, for when she was pressed during cross-examination to recall what exactly she had said to Ellis in that hallway encounter, Cardi explained matter-of-factly that she told Ellis to get out of her face. She questioned why Ellis had been recording her, and she reminded the plaintiff that her responsibility as a security guard was to provide safety, not invade personal space. Subscribe now for more courtroom updates like this. Her directness, as always, was on full display, and when Ellis's attorney suggested hypothetically that she could have scratched his client if she had wanted to, Cardi responded firmly, saying she did not because she was pregnant at the time and carrying her unborn baby. Her words reminded the courtroom that beyond the celebrity image was a mother protecting her child, and her personal life was touched upon frequently. The 32-year-old artist shares 3 children with her ex-husband Offset, those children being her daughter Culture, who is 7, her younger daughter Blossom, who is only 11 months old, and her son Wave, who is 3. Speaking about the day of the 2018 encounter, Cardi described how she had been 4 months pregnant at that time. Still keeping the pregnancy private, she said Ellis had followed her into the obstetrician's office on the 5th floor of the building and appeared to be recording her with a phone. Cardi testified that words were exchanged and that Ellis was walking directly into her personal space, even backing her down the hall as she moved, and when asked whether she had felt angry, Cardi openly admitted that she had, emphasizing strongly that she was pregnant and genuinely believed that the woman might be preparing to fight her. Subscribe if you want to keep following these explosive testimonies. The internet meanwhile turned the courtroom into content. Memes rapidly spread online exaggerating her remarks and expressions, while a surprising focus also landed on her nails, for on the day of the incident she had worn long acrylic nails encrusted with rhinestones. They were coffin-shaped, stylish and decorative, and became an unexpected point of discussion. Some raised the possibility that such nails could have inflicted scratches, but Cardi clarified with detail that they were not sharp, explaining they were purely for beauty and not a hazard. Another witness added to the story when the receptionist from the obstetrician's office testified, recounting that on August 27 she had heard the sound of raised voices in the hallway, but when she stepped outside she did not observe any physical fight between Cardi and Ellis. When asked in court to repeat what she had heard, she hesitated out of concern about using curse words, but Judge Ian C. Fusselman reassured her, stating the courtroom had already been exposed to nearly everything, so it was acceptable. As proceedings advanced, observers underlined that the drama was still far from over, predicting that more developments were inevitable and more statements would come from both sides. And since Cardi was known for her bold embrace of wigs and fashion statements, it was expected that future appearances might continue doubling as style moments. The interest in her looks in court was compared repeatedly to her dazzling appearances on red carpets and stages, making this legal battle not only a matter of law but also another dramatic public chapter in her ongoing story. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates on this unique blend of celebrity spectacle, courtroom battle, and unfiltered presence. In this way the trial unfolded, with each detail capturing attention not only because of the allegations, but because of who was involved and how she carried herself through it. Day after day the narrative grew as she continued to defend her name and her actions while refusing to let the stage, even a courtroom stage, dull her shine. Those present remarked that it was less about whether she was guilty or innocent at that moment and more about watching a woman who had built a career on transparency and raw energy apply the same traits inside a place designed for solemnity, with the judge, jury, attorneys, and audience swept along in the unpredictable flow of Cardi B's world, a world where even a lawsuit became entertainment, where accusations turned into memes, where testimony was delivered with unapologetic force, and where fashion choices spoke nearly as loudly as her words. The expectation remained that this story would not fade quickly, because it combined everything that drew people to her in the first place: her refusal to be silenced, her flair for performance, her insistence on standing firm, and her ability to turn even the most unlikely setting into a scene remembered and retold. As the trial awaited its next steps, the fascination. Day after day the narrative grew as she continued to defend her name and her actions while refusing to let the stage, even a courtroom stage, dull her shine. Those present remarked that it was less about whether she was guilty or innocent at that moment and more about watching a woman who had built a career on transparency and raw energy apply the same traits inside a place designed for solemnity, with the judge, jury, attorneys, and audience swept along in the unpredictable flow of Cardi B's world, a world where even a lawsuit became entertainment, where accusations turned into memes, where testimony was delivered with unapologetic force, and where fashion choices spoke nearly as loudly as her words. The expectation remained that this story would not fade quickly, because it combined everything that drew people to her in the first place: her refusal to be silenced, her flair for performance, her insistence on standing firm, and her ability to turn even the most unlikely setting into a scene remembered and retold. As the trial awaited its next steps, the fascination persisted, with every new statement and every new hairstyle building upon the larger narrative of Cardi B in court, leaving the world watching closely for the final outcome, but certain of one thing already: that this chapter, like so many others in her life, would remain unforgettable.